guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, we are going to start what I hope to turn into a full series. I will think of a name for it later, but for now, it's just I try new patterns. So, I got a bunch of fall colored yarn, and we are going to turn this pile into this shawl. At least that's the theory. We will see if that's what actually happens or not. But that's the goal. This is a pattern just from Hobby Lobby, as you can see right here in the corner. And the pattern is on the inside. It's just one of the free ones that they have in their like yarn aisle. Thought it was cute, thought we'd grab it, and so we're gonna try it. Again, we'll see how this goes, but here we go. The rest of the video will just be me attempting to make it. And obviously at the end, we will hopefully have a finished shawl. I am not following the exact coloring, obviously. I want this to be much more like fall colors because, let's be real, I am here for the Halloween and I love fall. So that's where we're at, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, so I just wanted to show you real fast as we get started that this particular pattern starts actually from the top up here and works its way down. So the first color we're going to start with is actually this dark maroon. As you can see, I have a little description of everything. So it's going to go the dark maroon to a lighter shade, and then it is going to go into this really pretty orange. We're just going to keep pushing it up into the burnt orange, into this dark brown, and then into a lighter brown, or maybe this one first, I'm not sure, but one of these two browns, and then the last color will be this like sparkly white. And I wanted the sparkly white to go at the bottom because even though it doesn't bother me, it is possible that it could bother somebody else. So I put the softest yarn at the top and then did the pattern in a way so that this would end at the bottom. So this is the pattern essentially. We're going to go darker and then it's going to come down, it's going to hit the browns, and then it's going to go into the white. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick idea of how this is starting and where it's going, and I will periodically jump in if I'm having trouble or mess it up or get confused, which will probably happen. So let's get started. So already I do have to disagree slightly with this pattern. It wants me to start by chaining 4 and then slip stitching to make a ring, and I think I'm just going to start with a magic circle instead. I prefer those, so I'm going to do that, and if it screws it up, then I learned my lesson. But that's what we're going to try. So already going to deviate, but that's fine. so far, I don't love how this yarn works up. Maybe for a different project this would be good, but I don't think it's going to, if we can get it to focus, hang on. Let's see. I don't think it's going to look good up against the other acrylic yarns. So I think we're going to take this apart, set it aside, and start with the other maroon instead, just to make it look a little bit nicer and more cohesive. And if I don't have enough yarn, I will grab like some red or something to add to it. But yeah, I don't like how this is working up. So we're just gonna set it over here and grab this one. So just wanted to let you guys know that's what's happening. And yeah, we'll start over and get back to it. Alright, I'm gonna trust the process, but as of right now, do we see that it looks off? Like, this side definitely looks shorter than this side. And like, I know I just finished here, so maybe that's why, but like it looks off. We'll see. We're gonna keep trucking, but right now it definitely looks off. And yeah. Hopefully it doesn't continue to be off. But let's move on to the next one. so I think we're starting to see the actual pattern come together. But it definitely is going to look like we're going to want to do a finishing row up here at the top already, just because it's like not very even. And I don't like having rough edges, so we will probably do some type of a finisher up here on this top section just to make it look more finished, I guess. But yeah, it's so far looking cute though. So we will keep on going. bumpy. Which I feel like most of the time they don't. So I am very interested to see how this plays out. Like, will it actually form a shawl, or will we be frogging the whole thing? I guess only time will tell. Okay, after getting to the next color, it's clear that this is just going to be a repeating pattern with the addition of the white, obviously, as we get to a certain point. Because it is just repeating, I will continue working on this, and we will do a little cut forward to when we get to the next color change. And then we'll do the color change together, we'll do the first row together, and then again we'll do another cut until, I guess it'll technically be almost done by the time we do the next cut. So I will see you back for you in a couple seconds, for me in who knows how long. Okay guys, I said I would come back when we switched colors. I obviously have done a couple more rows past the color change, and primarily that was because I was not sure if we were going to make it to the end of the row without running out of this color. Now, obviously we are pretty far now. It is pretty. Like, don't get me wrong, the design is very pretty. The little color splotches in each row is very nice. I'm glad I picked like a sparkly yarn for it, because it really does add to like the look of it. We are still having some issues with like the top of it being just off. Like, you can tell like everything else appears straight except for here, which I have made some notes. I really love the patterning that's done with this, but I have some critiques on how it's written to maybe, like, for example, not have this happen. Because, yeah, I think it might be an issue with the way that the way they want you to chain at the beginning of some rows, but then not chain at the beginning of other rows. I'm thinking possibly the inconsistency and the unclear instructions at certain points is probably what led to this occurring here, but then everything else being straight. So we're going to finish this, and when I do, I'm going to do an edge on it. Like, I don't like leaving rough edges like this, so I'm going to do a row of single crochets, at least one row of single crochets, around the entirety of it, probably in a different color but a coordinating color. We'll see what that happens to be. We may end up using the white which, let's see if we can get this camera to focus. We may end up using this like sparkly white as the border, since it is the accent color for the center. Maybe doing the border of singles in the same thing would be nice, but we'll see. I just wanted to hop in, give a quick little update on where we're at, and I will see you back here when we start the border, I guess. So for me, probably another several hours. For you, a matter of minutes. Seconds, actually. Seconds. All right. Okay, guys. So for you, it's been about a couple seconds. For me, it's been about 13 days since the beginning. But 13 days, and we have a beautiful shawl. Ignore the clashing dress underneath. It just happens to be on the form right now. But I think it turned out well. I still have the same issues that we started with. We'll put your view up just a tad. There is still a weird bump up here where we started. I mentioned it in the beginning that I thought it looked odd. That there was like a... when it goes like this. Like everything else is straight. Except the beginning. And I'm not sure how that happened or why it happened. But it did. Other than that, which I guess, it'll keep your neck warm. Pros to a con. It'll keep your neck warm. But other than that, I think it came out really, really well. I think the colors are gorgeous, although they do kind of remind me of like candy corn. Like this orange into the burnt orange with like the white. It is a little bit candy corn-esque. But I don't hate it. I actually love it. So it's big, first of all, as you can see, like we're not even, if I have you guys angled up at its head, at the head, you can't even see the bottom because it's all the way down here. But I love it. I'm not as big of a fan of this yarn. I will say that. Whatever this is, now granted, all the yarn I used was secondhand, so I have no idea what this is. It's an acrylic of some variety, but that's all I know. It's not soft. Like when you feel the ball of yarn, it feels soft. You're like, okay, this is nice. It feels nice. When it's worked up, it's very scratchy. And I don't understand why it shifted so much. Like it really did go from soft to not soft. And then I'm like, but then the Simply Soft that we used, this one, we used that for the top half, the maroon, right here, and for this orange. And these two are really soft. Like obviously it's the Simply Soft. So these are really soft. And then you get down here and it's not. And I kind of hate that, like the texture shift. But it is warm. I will say that. I had it on just for like try on purposes. And it's warm. Like really warm. Which, it's 100 degrees today. So probably not the best day to be wearing it. But it's pretty and it will keep you warm. I trimmed the whole thing, which is not part of the pattern, by the way. Just for reference, this is the trimming is not part of the pattern. But I really don't like unfinished edges, especially with how the top was. It just looked unfinished. So I did, just like the pattern tells you to do when switching all of the other colors, I did the same thing down here where I did every other double crochet in the other color. So it alternates and it does a cool like melding. I'll pull this off quick. so we can see. But what I'm talking about is every time they have you switch colors, you can see that they do one double crochet in the previous color and then they do one in the next color, and it does a really nice shift into the next color variant. And then they have you do it again. So when I switched to the brown, I wanted to do the same thing. And you can see it came out very nicely doing the shift that way. And that way it really does look more finished, I guess. Now, you can see at the top there is still this weird like taller section that kind of like folds over when you hold it out. It's on your neck, so like I guess your neck stays warm. That's a plus. But yeah, the pattern is not the best. And I feel like that's a big theme when it comes to Hobby Lobby in general. I've gotten their like make it like the amigurumi kits that they have. They're also not great when it comes to instructions. You end up not getting anything close to what the picture is. And I did those kits when I very first started learning how to crochet, and then I did one recently. And I really expected it to go well because I know what I'm doing now, and it still did not come out looking like the picture at all. So it makes me question maybe who is pattern testing for Hobby Lobby, or who is writing their patterns, because that seems to be a common thing. Like, there are parts of this shawl where I improvised because the pattern didn't make sense. So, for example, they don't tell you whether or not your chains count as a stitch. They don't tell you like how many stitches you should have at the end of rows. They don't explain, anything like that. And then there's rows where they don't have you chain, and then there's rows where they do have you chain, and it's just really inconsistent. But all of that being said, I do feel like the pattern itself, like the design of it, is really, really pretty. I love the addition of the accent color. It's really fun. I love the switching colors in like this. I think it's beautiful. The like spacing that they did here is awesome. And I would make it again. In fact, I'm going to. Obviously. I'm going to make another one. But I'm going to modify the pattern so that it makes more sense. For example, instead of like chaining at the beginning of the double crochet rows, I'm gonna do a stacked single because that will be easier to tell what it is, and I can treat it as a stitch, which I had to do to make the pattern work with the chains. I had to treat them as stitches, even though it's not said to do so. But it's pretty, it's huge, it's warm. I'm going to put it up for sale, so if you like it and you want it, you can certainly get it. As for the yarn that we have left over, that's a fun discussion, because the amount of yarn chicken I was playing in this last transition row was a little crazy. You can see this is all that's left. This is it. This is it. I nearly ran out. And that would have been tragic because I don't have more. Like I said, all of this yarn I got secondhand. I don't have a way to match it. I could maybe get close if this color exists, but it might be discontinued. I have absolutely no idea. But we luckily did not run out. As for the red, we have plenty of that left. I could make another top of this without any issue. Although it may end up getting used to finish this, which we will discuss in just a minute. Like the edging on it. Now, I know at the beginning I had 2 different colors of brown. And I believe my comment was, I don't know which one I'll need or if I'll need them both. Luckily, I did not need them both because this shade of brown is way too cool toned. Like, once I started using it, because I wanted to use this one, but when I put it next to this brown, maybe you can see, it does not match. It is just, it's not the right shade. It is way too, like, cool toned for all of the really warm colors that are in this. And it clashed so badly that I took the entire row out and used this color instead. And you can really, I mean, like, you can really see the difference. There's a huge color variation between these. And this one just worked. This one worked well. Not so much? Yes. So this, I would say, like, if you wanted a brown to go with, like, blues and, like, cool toned purples or greens, I would say you could use this color for that. It just does not go well with this pattern at all, with this gradient of colors. Looked awful. So, we will use this for something else. I can't throw it over there. There's a cat in the way. You can go over there. Oh, that's right. One sec. I hardly used any of the white. We have plenty of white. It sparkles. We'll use more. You can see my head, but can't see that. Come on. There we go. So you can see the pretty sparkles of the white. We have a ton of it left over. I'll use it for something. But I don't know what yet. Plenty of this color too. We can again use it for something else at some point. Same with this. And ooh, now that we're done with this, I did want to revisit the yarn that I originally was going to put as the top half, and that is this. So this yarn is really soft. Like, I'm working it up into another, I'm just doing a basic granny stitch shawl for this one. I'm just gonna crochet until I run out, and we'll see how big it gets. If I need to add more layers, that's where I think I'll use the maroon from the first one, or maybe even see about using the white. Maybe use the white at the base of this. But yeah, that's what we're doing with it. It's really soft. It feels nice, but it was going to look, because of the texture that it creates. Let's see if we can get that to zoom. Hello. Anyways, because of the texture that it makes, it didn't look good with like the regular acrylic, which is why it got nixed from the project, and it'll get used for something else. But that ends the first video, at least, of the I Try Patterns series. So we tried, pull it out just to remind everybody, we took this pattern right here. It's called Shawl Good. It's from this one, from Hobby Lobby. So it says it right there. And I got this forever ago. It probably isn't at Hobby Lobby anymore, like the actual paper version. It may still be on their website. They have some patterns on there, so it might be on there. I did obviously add some notes to it as I was doing it. I will be using it again, but like I said earlier, it will be modified because I just don't think it's a great pattern if you don't modify it, because it's very unclear in areas. I would argue too that while it says that it's for, like, it's easy, I don't think it would be a good project for a beginner, only because you need some knowledge in order to do the modifications so that you actually end up with a finished shawl and not a bunch of tangled yarn. Because, yeah, I really did have to modify certain areas. It also wanted me to stop, like, right here. And I thought that was so weird. Like, why would you end your pattern one row after your color change, after the accent color? Like, why wouldn't you want it to mimic the previous layers and then end right before your next color change? So I did that. I didn't like that it was ending right at the accent color. So I did add, I think it was like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I added 7 extra rows to it, but I think it made a big difference in how it looks. And to be honest, you know, a shawl is a shawl, and there is nothing wrong. That is the wrong direction. There's nothing wrong with it being big and warm. So, yeah, it's done. We're gonna move on to a new project now, and I will see all of you in the next one. And remember, if you like it, if you want it, I'll make sure it's up for sale when the video goes live, and you guys can have it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!